Hey there, I'm Eliza with Ancestral Evolution, and today I'm going to teach you how to save heirloom tomato seeds. Heirloom tomatoes are one of the most quintessential parts of summer farmers markets. And today I'm going to show you how to save seed from any type of heirloom tomato you want to, so you never have to buy tomato seeds again if you don't want to. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe down below, and definitely check us out on Skillshare also. I'll have a link down below in the show notes. So what is the difference between an heirloom tomato and a hybrid tomato? An heirloom tomato is a tomato whose seeds will produce plants of the same type of tomato. They call this being true to type. If I plant seeds from an heirloom tomato, those seeds will grow into a plant that produces the same type of tomato. Now, if I were to plant seeds from a hybrid tomato, the plants that resulted from those seeds would not look like the original tomato. And so if you grow hybrid tomatoes, you have to buy new seeds every year, pretty much. You can't save seeds from those tomatoes. If you grow heirloom tomatoes, you can save seeds from those tomatoes year after year after year, and you can even select those seeds and those tomato plants that do the best in your garden. So over time, you can even develop your own strains of heirloom tomatoes, which is pretty cool, I think. So let's talk about what we're gonna need. First, you're gonna want an heirloom tomato of some sort. It could be any type of tomato you wanna save. It could be a grape tomato, it could be a really big tomato, it could be whatever you choose. But it has to be heirloom, not hybrid. And if you have any question about that, ask the farmer at the farmer's market that you buy it from, or sometimes they're even selling heirloom tomatoes in the grocery store nowadays. The other thing you want to make sure is that your tomato is free of blemishes. You want to make sure that you are getting some good strong genetics from your tomato. So you don't want one that has a lot of issues with it. Also, you want to make sure that the tomato you pick is pretty well ripe. You don't want to pick a green tomato or an unripe tomato for this. If you do, the seeds will not survive very well. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, Eliza, I'll just open up a tomato and pluck the seeds out and then I'll just plant them. Well, it's not quite so simple. Tomato seeds have a protective coating on the outside, so if you were just to take the seeds out of your tomato and plant them, that protective coating actually prevents those seeds from sprouting. There's a way to get around that, and I'll show you the trick to it in just a minute. So the other things we're going to need, of course, is a knife, a cutting board. You're going to want a glass jar of some sort, or like a little ramekin would work too. I like the ball jars. They're useful for so many things. A little spoon or scooper, or you could use like a butter knife. A rubber band. A piece of paper towel. Some filtered water. You want filtered water, not tap water, because tap water has some chlorine in it and it can interfere with our process here. And last but not least, you're gonna want a strainer of some sort, or a sieve. And I should also mention, this is a beautiful heirloom tomato from the farmer's market, and this is a Cherokee purple tomato. So it's one of the more common hybrids you can find out there, but it is a beautiful and delicious tomato. So if you haven't tried them, you should definitely try them. All right, so first I'm just going to lay it on its side, and I'm going to cut it in half down the middle here. So we got two halves, and you can see the seeds pretty well there. So after you've cut your tomato in half, you're just going to take your small spoon or scooper and your glass jar, and you're just going to stick it in here and scoop out as many of the seeds as you can. It's okay if you make a mess. All right, got some nice seeds there. And so basically what we're going to do is we are going to ferment our tomato seeds for a couple days, and that is going to get rid of that protective outer coating on the seeds and enable them to sprout. So if you're wondering why you get those volunteer tomato plants in your garden after you throw all your rotten tomatoes in the corner, this is why. The tomato seeds ferment in your rotten tomato, and then they're ready to sprout. All right, so we're going to save this to eat this for lunch. All right, so here's our jar. We've got some liquid in there from the tomato, and we've got our seeds. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this to make sure it doesn't dry out too much. And like I mentioned, this is filtered water, not tap water. So we want to make sure that there's no chlorine in this so it can ferment properly. Just need a little bit. All right, now you're going to take your piece of paper towel, or you could also use a small piece of cloth of some sort, and a rubber band, and attach this to the top. And we're just going to let this sit for 3 days. Now if you're saving seeds from multiple different tomatoes, you probably want to label your jar with the type of tomato seed it is, and also the date that you start your fermentation. I've had a couple of times when I've had a bunch of different jars going in the kitchen and I forget which one is which or when I started it. So doing that will help you make sure that you know what's what and when it's time to do the next step. So it's been 3 days, and here are our tomato seeds. I'm just going to give these a nice little swish here. We're going to take the top off. Now this may smell a little ripe, but that's okay because we've got some fermentation going on. Ripe is a good smell here. I'm going to pour them through our sieve. Just take some fresh water and we're just going to rinse them. Get some of this remaining flesh from the tomato out of here. Now these seeds that are here, we're going to actually put them back in our jar. And fill our jar with some clean water. We're just going to wait for a minute until most of our seeds settle on the bottom. If you have any seeds that float to the top, that is a sign that those seeds are not the seeds that you want to keep. So once we've got everything kind of settled here, I'm just going to pour off the water on the top carefully. You can actually use your sieve again at this point. Pour them out here. All right, so here are our seeds. So what I usually do at this point is I transfer them to a plate that has some wax paper on it. Get them all out of here. Kind of spread them out as much as you can. And then you just want to set this in a well-ventilated area out of direct sunlight until they're completely dry. This usually takes a couple days to a week. And once they are, you can kind of fold up your wax paper and make a little envelope out of it. And then it's time to put them away for storage. I like to store my seeds that I've saved in a ball canning jar. And as you can see here, I've got some envelopes with wax paper of some other seeds that I've saved. So you can just stick that in a closet or cabinet somewhere. And I've had tomato seeds that I've saved be good for up to 3 to 4 years. Beyond that, you probably want to grow some more tomatoes and save some more seed. So hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy your tomatoes.